we'll be hearing from 3 window experts, or otherwise known as window geeks, as we would like to call them, and they will be discussing topics that every homeowner is inquiring about. We'll be learning about the latest design trends and finding out what's hot right now in the market. We'll also be seeing a variety of glass options. Keep in mind, selecting the right type of glass is crucial. So we'll take a look at those options and find out which type of glass makes you eligible for the BC Government rebates that are being offered right now. We'll also take a look at common window panes that many deal with and discover solutions on how to fix them. And lastly, we'll be taking a product tour live from our Centra Headquarters in Langley, BC. So with that being said, it gives me great pleasure in welcoming our sales manager, Mark Brando. So take it away, Mark.
Yeah, so thank you everybody that joined us today to our first Stay Home show. We're pretty proud to host it and kick it off. It might be one of many to come. So I'm going to just introduce you a little bit about the company and a little bit what we like to call the Centra Advantage. And why we have a Centra Advantage is we are 100% employee owned and operated. So there's about 240 of us that own the company. We've invested our own hard-earned money into the company, so we care what we do. And I think when you have any interaction with our staff members, whether it's a salesperson or somebody in the office, you'll see our passion for Windows and for our company. It really comes out. We've been in business now for 36 years, head office based in Langley, where we manufacture our product. And then we have branch offices in Nanaimo, Victoria, and then our Kelowna branches servicing the interior. One of the other big things with Centra is we manufacture and install our own product. We don't believe in subcontracting out our labor. So whoever comes to your home or your complex is a Centra employee. They are paid by the hour, not by the job. And they're not in a rush to get onto that next job. The other benefit is insurance, which is sometimes overlooked. But with having everything done in-house, the installers that come to do the installation are under our workers' compensation, and they're under our liability insurance as well. One other thing that is important to us is giving back to the communities that we service. We actually created our own registered charity back about 5 years ago called Centra Cares. And what we do is we donate to certain causes every year. A couple of them to mention would be Langley Hospital. We donated to their addition and new MRI machine. Canuck Place has been an important one we've donated to. And we always are giving back to the local food banks that we are servicing the communities we're in. Centra is a building envelope specialist. So what that means is we're not just somebody that's working out of their house and says they're a window expert. We actually have done lots of retrofits in large complexes over the last 15, 20 years. And we've developed a very good name in the industry for coming in on time and on budget. Lastly, customer satisfaction is our top priority with being employee owners. We work very hard on customer experience, whether it's coming to our showroom or when we're in your home on a sales call or with the installation team. We know if you're happy, you're going to refer us. And over our 36 years of business, that's how we've grown our business, one customer at a time and making sure you're happy. So back over to you, Renell. Oh, sorry, Renell. You know what? I've got one more thing I'm going to talk about, and that is curb appeal and design trends. So just let me share my screen here. Okay, so kind of the 3 keys that we see right now in the industry that have been changing over the last couple, 3 years. The 3 things are colors. They're grids that are making a kind of a resurgence in Windows. And then alterations have become very big too. So I'll kind of get into those 3 things. So with colors, black seems to be one of the most popular things right now. If you were to come to our factory, typically we are very, we like to give showroom tours, and we also like to take people into our factory. But because of COVID right now, we're kind of shying away from that. But once we get back to normal and you're in the Langley area, we would love to give you a tour of our facility. We're very proud of it. But if you looked in our facility, you'd see probably 30 to 35% of what's going through the factory right now is black on the outside. We actually have a product called Color Shield, which is a black vinyl on the outside. And then we have it's white on the inside. That seems to be one of the most popular things. Here's an example of a home you'll see right here with the black Color Shield done in stucco. We also have many different colors that you can choose from. We have about 20 different colors, so we can design a color that works for you, what you have in mind. A couple quick pictures here of some homes, you can see by adding color and a few other things, you can really change the look of a home. You know, if you look at the before and after, again, using the black Color Shield here. So color has been probably one of the biggest design trends that we've seen over the last 3 to 5 years. Here's another example of a new build with black frames, which seems to be quite popular with a white type of cladding. It's one of my favorites out there right now. And this picture also shows the grids and where they've changed. Traditionally in the 80s, every window had bars and it looked like a prison. Nowadays, there's bars in it for people that choose to do it, but they're bigger squares compared to the prison cell jail type of look. So here's another home in Ladner that she actually decided to do black on the inside. You can see the before and after there. And again, she went with the big square sizes. What we see for grids now too is not your traditional grid where it was in between the panes of glass. And nowadays it is what's called a simulated divided light. So with a simulated divided light, what it looks like is it looks like individual little panes of glass. So you have a shadow bar in between the panes of glass, and then you have the grid bars on the outside panes of the glass. So it gives it that really authentic look. Quite a nice look. There's just another example here, kind of a close-up shot of what you would see. So the last thing is alterations. It's probably 5 to 6 jobs a week easily that we're quoting on doing alterations. Here is a great shot of a before and after. Customer had a 6-foot French door and they had a window, 5x5 window further down, where we actually expanded that whole opening, put in a 16-foot patio slider, really extended the inside to the outside, and this particular home with a great view of Lake Okanagan. So doors is a really popular one right now to expand that opening and let in more light, expand the living space. And one of the other big ones right now too is taking shaped windows and turning them into square windows. This is really popular. So here's an example of that same house in Ladner where they had the shaped window on the front of the house and we turned it square. So that's the inside shot. And then here's the outside shot. It kind of gives you an idea, the change of the curb appeal of that. So the other big one is a lot of people have round top windows. We're really finding that we're taking those and we're turning them into square windows if there's enough room on the inside or the outside. This example, we had plenty of room, and it really, really changes the look of a home cutting it square. So back over to you, Renell.
All right, thank you so much, Mark. And for those who are looking for Mark's contact information, here you have it. If you want to give him a call or sending him an email, that is the best way to contact him. Of course, you can call us at Centra as well, and that'll be the best way to contact Mark. We thank everyone for their patience. Right now, of course, is our first virtual home show, so there will be a few technical difficulties that may come our way as we get through this, but we are doing our best here, and we thank you for your patience. Mark, we do have a couple of questions for you from our attendees here today, just regarding to your latest presentation. First question that we had here for you was, how long does the paint last on a vinyl window? And in regards to the black color shield that you had mentioned, is that painted black or is that a different process for color as a whole?
So the black color shield is actually a black vinyl. It's extruded right in the factory that we purchase our vinyl from, our lengths of vinyl. So it's not a paint. And I would say that's the most popular thing that's going through the factory is the black vinyl. With our paint, we actually do it in-house as well in our factory in Langley. And we offer a 10-year warranty that it won't fade, chip, crack, or discolor.
We have another question here from Ashleen. What material is the window frame made from?
Window frame is made from vinyl or PVC.
All right, thank you so much. All right, thanks, Mark. We will actually be seeing from Mark later on following this presentation, following our Window Geek from Jake and Robin. Mark's going to be taking us on a live product tour from our show home. So thank you so much, Mark. All right, with that being said, we now like to welcome in Jake. Jake is actually going to be speaking to us a little bit about common window designs and window panes that we are dealing with. Now, window panes, of course, is something that every homeowner is dealing with. Jake's going to tell us a little bit about how we can fix some of those solutions. So definitely a very insightful topic. Once again, if you have any questions, do participate in the Q&A in the chat room as well, and Jake will be able to answer that question for you live. Take it away, Jake.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us here today. My name is Jake Vandermeer, and I have been with Centra for 11 years now. I started in manufacturing. I then went on to installations, and now I do sales in the Okanagan region. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about some common window concerns that occur, which usually cause people to start looking for replacement options and what we do differently to solve these issues. It's important to understand that hiring the right contractor to perform the work is completely up to the customer. In most cases, you do not require a building permit to replace your windows, so the risk of hiring an unqualified contractor falls on the homeowner. The more you understand and the more research you do at the beginning of the process will help ensure that you are getting the best value for your investment. After all, windows are a large investment into your biggest asset, and you need to be able to justify spending the money to replace them. I always like to use the new phone versus a new car example when I'm explaining what this process should look like to my customers. When you're looking for a new phone, you probably already know the exact model that you want, so it's very easy to make a few calls, see who's got sales going on, who's got the best deal at the moment, and you can make your decision from there. But if you were in the market for a new car, I highly doubt that you would just call up a few dealerships and ask them for a price on a car, any car with 4 wheels. The issue with that is you're going to get a few quotes in, prices and options are going to be all over the map, and it's going to be very hard to make a decision. So usually you're going to know things like how many seats do I need, what kind of gas mileage or engine size is going to work best for me, do I need a 4x4, and all of these things will help you make the right decision. Looking for windows should be treated very similar. It may not be quite as exciting as buying a new car, but doing the proper research and asking questions up front will only pay off for you in the long term. So right now I'm going to explain some common window panes. Number one is going to be a broken seal. So most houses that were built in the 80s or 90s do have a dual pane window that looks like this. They've got a layer of glass on the outside, a layer of glass on the inside, and it's butt up against an aluminum bar. There's a 1/2 inch space in between that's usually filled with air, and when the air heats up, it expands, causing this unit to concave out a little bit, and then when it contracts again when it's cold, it shrinks back in and causes even more pressure on the seal here. So really it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And if you've got windows that get a lot of sun, it's probably going to happen a lot faster because over time, this glass moves so much, it breaks apart from the single seal spacer, and now you're getting condensation in between your glass, and it looks like you've got a foggy window, and no matter how hard you clean it, you just can't get rid of it. So we do a few things differently now to help overcome this issue. Number one is we no longer fill that 1/2 inch space in between the dual pane with air. We use what's called argon gas. We use argon because it's very dense and it's lazy. So when it heats up and it cools down, it's not going to expand and contract like regular air would. So it's not going to put as much pressure on the seal around the outside of your window. We also have a dual seal system here. So we actually have 2 seals that go up to the glass that are designed to allow for movement over time. Although it doesn't move as much as the older windows, it's still designed to allow a little bit of movement. And because it's working together, we can guarantee that you won't have a broken seal, so you don't have to worry about the condensation issue. Next, I'm going to talk about maintenance on your frames. So where I live in the Okanagan, most people have wood window frames. And the issue with wood here is once it gets a lot of sun, it starts to fade, it rots, and now you're spending probably a couple hours every year, maybe every other year, sanding and painting your window frames. No matter how hard you try, you just can't get them to look right. So by using a vinyl window, a virgin vinyl window, this product will actually perform in the sun, and you don't have to worry about maintenance. You don't have to worry about fading, because we will give you a full warranty that protects you against all of that. Now, if you're on the coast or the island, and even some houses in the Okanagan, you will have an aluminum window. The issue with aluminum is when it's cold outside and when it's warm inside, or vice versa, both of those temperatures now meet on the aluminum frame and they produce condensation. In most situations, this condensation over time will turn into mold, and you get those black lines in the inner windowsill that are very hard to clean, and they can also be a health concern as well. So vinyl windows are a much better thermally broken product. You won't have the same issue with heat or cold passing through like you would with aluminum. Next is going to be heat gain and heat loss. So how we overcome this is with low-E coatings. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here because Robin's going to talk about this coming up. But how low-E coatings work is we've got 4 surfaces of glass in a sealed unit like this. You've got the outer pane, the inside of the outer pane, the inside pane, and then the pane that you touch on the inside of your house. So generally these low-E coatings are applied in between the glass, so you can't scratch them, they're permanent, but they're gonna work to reflect all of that UV that hits your window back out. So it's not coming into your house. You don't have to worry about fading your furniture, your floors. You also don't have to worry about keeping your window closed all summer long if you've got a great view, because after all, windows were made for you to look out of them. There is actually low-E coatings that are designed for heat gain, so it's very important that you understand the difference of coatings and you select the one that you're looking for to do exactly what you want it to do. Lastly is windows functioning. So a lot of times if your windows are old, over time, maybe you've got a big heavy opener, it might start to sag a little bit or it warps a little bit, and now you can't open it and close it anymore. So how we overcome this issue is with a very strong window frame. So I've got a cross section here of one of our vinyl window frames. And if you look at it, you can see there is a minimum of 10 chambers in every single one of our window frames that Centra manufactures. We do this for 2 reasons. Number one, if you've got a cold draft that's trying to pass through from the outside of your house to the inside of your house, it's going to be a lot harder to work its way through so many cavities like you see here compared to more of a builder's grade window that I got from a competitor. So you can see there's quite a big difference in the genetic makeup of our window. Secondly, all of these ridges here and all of these little lines that you see are going to produce or provide strength, structural integrity for your window, so that over the years, when you're opening it and closing it, you don't have to worry about the weight of the window causing it to warp and not function anymore. And that is it for me. So now I'm going to pass it back to Ronell. Thanks, everybody.
Very popular on Instagram, otherwise known as Jake Nye, the window guy. Definitely send him an email, give him a call, or send him a message on Instagram. He'll be able to answer any questions, as Jake, of course, is one of our certified window geeks and loves to talk windows. Now, Jake, before you go anywhere, we have quite a few questions for you that came in. First off, from Beatrice, does the UV light break down the vinyl eventually?
That is a great question, actually. And this is another thing that you need to make sure you do your research on when you're selecting a new window, because there's a lot of different vinyls available. Some companies may use a recycled vinyl. It's going to be cheaper, but the issue is it's been melted down and reused, and then UV can be a concern. Everybody's seen one of those French doors where the capping around the glass has gone yellow, and this is a concern if you're using a cheap vinyl. We use a virgin vinyl product. So this is from Canada. It's not from offshores. It hasn't been reused. It hasn't been recycled. And we actually give you a full warranty to protect you against any exterior fading, sun damage, cracking, anything you can think of.
Another question we have here from Ashleen. Her home is near a busy highway. Can Centra Windows assist in any sort of noise cancellation or sound reduction?
Absolutely, we can. Now, a lot of times when we replace your old windows with our new windows that have the argon gas, you're going to notice a big reduction in the noise right out of the gate without doing any special upgrades. But in cases where maybe you live by an airport, and we've done projects like this in the past, what we can do is we can actually offset the glass thickness in each layer. So maybe we do a 4 mil thick glass pane on the outside and 6 mil on the inside. And the reason why we stagger the size is because when the sound waves want to pass through the window, now they're being absorbed at different frequencies and they can cancel each other out a lot better.
Last question that we'll take here for this presentation. Keep in mind, we want to thank everyone for all their questions. We will have a final question period with all of our panelists, but we do want to make sure we get through all the formalities first as well. Last question here from Narinder. Does the coating impact the amount of light coming through the window?
So low E does give it a little bit of a greenish hue. If you look at a new home, a lot of times you'll notice that the glass has a little bit of a greenish hue if you stand off to the side. But that coating is literally what makes your window efficient. So we do have a number of different coatings, and it is true that they would allow a little bit of less visual light as you get more intense, but it's very hard for the human eye to pick up. We've actually got a bay in our showroom here in Kelowna for anybody who's interested that has 9 panes of glass, and they all have different coating options on them, and you cannot tell them apart. You can't tell which one has more, which one has less. It's very hard to see.
There will be one more question I want to get to because she did ask the question actually pretty early on into your presentation. This is from Cindy, and you spoke about this directly, Jake. Do all the chambers that make the partitions bigger, do they decrease the view at all for the homeowner?
No, I mean, in general, if you're going from an aluminum window to a vinyl frame window, vinyl frames are going to be thicker than aluminum, but you want that because you want something that's more energy efficient. So in reality, yes, you might lose a little bit of glass, half an inch, an inch. It's almost impossible to see the difference once it's been replaced. Now you've got a big, beautiful, clean white window frame and very nice glass to look through.
All right, thank you so much, Jake. Once again, we want to appreciate and thank you all for your questions. Jake will be available to answer more of your questions along with Robin and Mark following our product tour. And we did have an inquiry in the chat room about patio doors. Mark will be touching on patio doors as we go into our live showroom tour later on following Robin's presentation. Okay, speaking of Robin, I'd now like to welcome Robin, one of our other window geeks. He's going to be talking to you about glass options and those specific type of glass options that make it eligible for the homeowner to capitalize on those BC government rebates. Robin, take it away.
Thanks so much, Ronil. I appreciate you guys having me on today. So I've been in the renovation industry for over 30 years, and I've been with Centra for almost half that time, 13 to almost 14 years. So I just love Centra. Centra's a great company, and yeah, I'm proud to be with them. So what we wanted to talk to you about today is we wanted to talk to you about low E glass and just how it works. And we're going to talk a little bit about the rebate program and a little bit how that works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we'll basically talk about glass and what to look for in glass. So essentially, when looking at vinyl windows, we want to look at and understand the low E glass that we're putting into the windows. What low E is it's essentially a coating that goes onto the glass. Think of it like tinfoil on your windows that you can see through. And the idea is that that tinfoil is going to reflect heat. So it's whether it's the heat that we're heating up in our home in the winter and keeping it in the house, or if it's from that summer heat that's making our house really hot and making our house uncomfortable and making our air conditioner work overtime, as well as the ultraviolet light, essentially fading our floors and our furniture. So this is our glass sheet, and essentially it tells how glass performs. Now, when looking at a window, there's really some main things that we want to look at. We want to look at the U value, and that's sort of your number one thing. A U value is essentially the unit value. So essentially where we're taking the glass, the frame, all the pieces and parts that it takes to make a window, and then testing it to see what the insulation value and the performance value of that window is. The next thing that we want to look at is we want to look at solar heat reduction. So essentially from the sun, how much heat is going to come into my house, and how can I block that heat to make my house much more comfortable. And then lastly, we want to look at ultraviolet performance. So essentially how the fading of the furniture and that sort of thing. So if we look at our clear window, so this would be your standard double pane window built in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s. If we look at these three things here, you can see here, the U value of that window really isn't very good, which we all kind of know. And then we look at the solar heat reduction. Well, it's really not doing very much. So our air conditioner is working really hot, and we're trying to close our blinds or our curtains to try and keep that heat out. And then our ultraviolet protection isn't very good either. So this is sort of your standard window that's out in the industry that's been out there for many, many years. Now, this is your standard one coat low E glass, and this is something that we don't offer, but this is your standard 2020 builder's grade product that's out there. And this is really key, that we want to look at this and make sure that we're not getting this 180 low E glass, because essentially it doesn't really control much of the heat gain from the sun, as well as it's really not giving us much of an insulation value. So essentially that U value isn't very good. So if we look at this here, you can see here, our window that was built in the 1960s versus our window that's a 2020 builder's grade entry level bare bones window that's out in the industry really isn't performing very well. And this is why the government has come out with this rebate program, is that they're seeing people going from this clear glass window and moving themselves into a 180 low E window and thinking, well, it's a brand new window, it's got low E glass, that must be good enough for me. And they're seeing that people really, you know, it's not making a big difference. You might as well have just kept that old window and just put it into energy loss, rather than spending all that money for new windows and getting something that's going to really not perform very well and not really make you a really happy person with the new windows that you're getting. So the idea here is that at Centra, this is our standard glass package that we've been building for many, many years. So now when you look at our standard glass package, either a 270 or a 366 low E glass, you can see here, wow, look at our U value now. We've really jumped up from that standard window built in the 80s or your standard builder's quality product that's built today. And we're really getting much better U value. So the insulation value of that window is going to retain the heat in the house. We're also going to get some really great solar heat control. So essentially blocking the heat from the sun, so it's not heating up our house. And essentially when we look at this, we look at our 270 glass is our double layer low E glass, and it's going to work really well for you. Or our 366 low E glass is going to work a little bit better. So for those south facing windows and those west facing windows, we can really control the heat a little bit better with a 366 low E glass. Now, this is our standard offerings, as I said, but that's not exactly what we need to get the rebate, because the government said, we know you can do better, and we can. And what that is we're using a product called I-89. I-89 is a second layer of low E glass. And essentially, instead of just having the one low E glass on the outside and then a clear pane of glass on the inside, we're adding a second coating of low E. And this low E coating is going on the inside of the pane of the glass. And this is going to add 25 to 30% more energy efficiency to our windows. And we call this our Comfort Plus glass. So essentially now when we look at this Comfort Plus glass package, when you put this onto the windows, wow, we are just maximizing the performance of the window. It's almost giving you triple glazed performance windows without actually jumping into triple glazed windows. So it's a huge difference. And with that, we're going to now get a rebate back from the government. Okay, so essentially, as I said, when we move into this low E glass and adding this I-89 coating, as long as our U value meets where we need, we're going to get a rebate back from the government. So essentially, I'm just going to clear my screen and we'll go to the next screen here. Okay, so this is a sort of a thermal look of the windows. And essentially what it is here is this is, oh, sorry about that, guys. So this is a thermal look at the glass. What we have over here is we have our standard regular window that was built in the 1960s. And then over here we have our 366 and I-89 glass. And you can see here, this is under 500 watt heat lamps, and it makes a huge difference on the windows. So the idea here is we're making a huge difference going from our 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s windows and performing much better by cutting out the heat gain and making our house much more comfortable. So then, as far as the rebates go back from the government, BC Hydro has got together with the Canadian government. And essentially how it works is that we can get either $50 to $100 back on each one of the windows. So it really depends if a window's opening or not opening, or if it's a fixed window, on how much money we get back from the government. And we will work together with you on this, just so we can walk through it and explain to you just how much of a rebate you would get back on your windows. And we'll also, price it out so that we can tell you what the extra cost is for that iodine glass versus our standard glass, and see if it's worth doing the rebate program. I'm finding that probably between out of 10 people, we're probably doing a rebate with 9 of them. So it makes a huge, huge difference. So yeah, that's kind of how low E glass works. Really understand your low E value, understand what the U value is of your windows, as well as understand just what you're getting as far as glass, because a lot of times you could be just getting a very, very low quality, low E glass. It's not going to perform very well for you. So that's kind of it that I have for low E glass. I'm going to throw it back to Ronil, and we can answer some questions if we have some.
All right, thank you so much, Robin. Here is Robin's contact information for those who are interested in giving him a call or sending him an email. Once again, Robin, one of our certified window geeks, an expert when it comes to our glass options, and especially you spoke about those rebates there. That's where the questions are coming in right now, Robin. So we'll ask a few questions for you as we have some interested homeowners about that specific topic. You spoke about the specific type of glass that makes it eligible for rebates. Now, is that a Centra specific type of product, or can many other window manufacturers and companies provide that type of product to get those rebates?
That's an excellent question, because it's not necessarily the glass. We have other companies within the window industry that can actually
I think Robin might have cut out just slightly there. He was about to go into the details about those questions. We will probably get back to Robin after that. We are going to go now to our showroom tour, but
we want the lowest U value as possible. So our windows are qualified to meet the rebate back from the government, but not necessarily that some companies could be using the same glass as us, but if their frame and their weather stripping and stuff is not up to par, they won't be eligible for the rebate back from the government. So that's really
Robin, I hate to do it to you. I know you're a window geek, so I like to talk about it. You did cut out there early on, pretty on in your answer there, so I might have to ask you just to repeat yourself there, because we kind of caught the tail end of your answer. Just once again, if you want to summarize that for us pretty quickly.
Sure, sorry about that. So yeah, no, it really depends on the company, because the way it works with vinyl windows is that we can use those 2 types of glass, but we need to use, we need to look at the whole window itself, and it needs to be tested by a private company to see that the U value is low enough to receive that rebate back from the government. So the idea is it's not just the glass, it's the frame, the weather stripping within the windows, all the little pieces and parts have to be tested to meet that low U value to get the rebate back from the government. So we'd be really careful out there. A lot of companies are saying that it's not worth doing it, whereas it absolutely is. As I said, about 9 out of 10 people are doing the rebate with our company now.
Thanks, Robin. And for those who are inquiring more information about those rebates, just in the chat room here, we did post our latest blog that does give you all the details and everything you really need to know about government rebates. Of course, you can give Robin or any of us at Centra a call, but you can check out that blog, and hopefully that should answer a few more questions for you. A couple questions here, Robin. How long do the low E coatings last on windows? Is that something that peels off or scratches off over time, or is there a longevity that comes with these low E products?
Excellent question. Yeah, no, this isn't one of those coatings that you might just like a film that gets put onto the glass. This is a hard coat and a soft coat coating. So what that means is that it's sprayed onto the surface of the window when the glass is manufactured. So it's not something that you could ever wash off when you're cleaning your windows. It doesn't come off. You can't, you can, like Jake talked about, it's got a slight little green hue to it. But the idea is that it would never come off your windows. This is permanent. We put a 20-year, 100% warranty on that glass, full replacement if there is ever an issue with that coating, but we don't see very many issues with it over time.
Final question here from Victoria. How effective is this neat glass coating in preventing or minimizing bird droppings or really any sort of debris on your windows? Of course, it does take away from homeowners wanting to clean their windows a little less. Does neat glass help that?
Okay, yeah, so neat glass is something that we offer on all of our windows. It's essentially was originally designed for high-rise towers. High-rise towers are full of glass, and it's very expensive to keep that glass clean. So it was designed for the high-rise towers, and we're now using it in the residential industry. What it essentially does is it uses the sun's ultraviolet to break down the dirt on the windows. If we took a microscope and looked down on a piece of glass, you'd see that there's lots of peaks and valleys to that glass. And what happens is this neat coating goes onto the glass, and it makes it so that essentially the glass is very smooth and slippery. So essentially with just a garden hose, or if the rain's hitting the window, it's going to wash the window off beautifully. And a window with neat glass on it, a standard window, if it got wet, it would usually take about 45 minutes to dry off. But with a neat glass window, it actually only takes about 15 minutes. So that glass could actually come real nice and clean and get rid of those water droplets in about 15 minutes with neat glass. And as I say, this is a standard offering at Centra that we put on most of our products.
Yeah, if you're telling homeowners they have to clean less, they're going to like that product no matter what. So that's definitely a good sign. Final question here from Gary. He did actually post this in the chat to all the panelists here. And this, once again, once this question is complete, folks, we are going to go live to our showroom where Mark's going to be giving us a product tour. So for those interested in our patio doors, you will get to see a live look of those coming up very soon here. Final question here for Robin. The back of my home faces south. The front faces north. What are your thoughts on putting Comfort Plus glass in the back and low E 270 I-89 in the front where the sun is not so intense?
Yeah, and that's exactly it, is that you can customize it. And that's what we do with all of our packages, that we can customize it. Yes, that is typically the way we do it, is usually on the north side of the home where we don't get a lot of heat gain. We would use our 270 glass with our I-89. And then on those south and west facing windows, we're using our 366 in I-89 windows, just to control better that solar heat gain that comes in those windows. But honestly, the difference is really not a lot in the color of that glass. And typically when I'm doing the houses, I'm usually, because we do get a better insulation value with the 366 and I-89 together. So typically for myself, I'm usually doing the 366 and I-89 throughout the whole home. But it's about $1 a square foot difference between 366 and 270. So we can save a couple of dollars by doing the north side with the 270, but as I said, I'm usually doing the Comfort Plus 366 and 99 on all the windows.
All right, thank you so much, Robin. Gary, we hope you got all that. Once again, you can give Robin a call, send us an email as well. Our panelists are going to be open to some more questions following the product tour, which is now coming up next. And for those waiting for the $500 Centra cash prize, we're going to be giving that away following Mark's product tour that's coming up right now. So hang tight. We have $500 in Centra cash to give away, so you definitely want to hang tight and stay tuned for that. All right, we're going to go now to Mark, who's live in Langley at our showroom. Mark, how's it going?
Good. Welcome to our showroom. Come on through. So I know there's a couple of folks on the line that really want to talk patio doors. So I'm going to go right into what we have to offer for doors. So if you follow me this way, I'm going to start with our classic series in white, kind of walk you through the features of the patio door. So one of the big things you'll notice about our patio door, we're standing on the outside of the home. And what you'll find, a lot of older patio doors, we probably hear it 3-4 times a week when we call on people. They say my door was put in backwards, or my door was made wrong because it slides on the outside track. So with that, a thief can put a bar underneath the bottom and pull the bottom out. So the way our doors operate is the slider's now sliding on the inside portion of the home. So it eliminates that security risk from the outside. The other thing it gives us is more structure for that slider to slide on it on the inside, which allows it to glide true over time. Now we have 4 wheels on the bottom, which allow it to glide really nicely. So it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. That's a heavy piece of glass, but it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to move that. So staying with security, the nice thing with the locking system is you've got what I call a double rhino hook on the handle here. So when that locks, you've got the 2 hooks, and then it's going to lock right into this steel plate here. So you got a really good locking system. The other nice thing is on the back side of the patio door, you've got what's called a foot bolt here. So you've got a hardened steel pin that goes down into the frame, and so it gives that extra lock that goes in. The other thing that we'll do is that's possible is we can put a hole in the track so you can drop that pin down, have the door locked, but still allow some fresh air to come in. Screen slides on the outside. So we'll just demo this one here and I'll walk to the outside. Come through. And here's an example of our patio door in black with our black color shield. So everything black from the outside. This is a taller door that we put a transom on the top. So continuing on with patio doors and a little bit kind of touching on our design trends that I was talking about earlier. Here's an example of a bigger patio door. So nice thing with the doors, you got the double screens here. You open up the screens and then you can really expand your opening and kind of expand your living space to the outside onto a deck. So we can do these up to a 16-foot wide door, which is what I showed you in one of the slides earlier. We also can do a bifold door, a French door system, and then we also offer a bifold over here. So we'll open that up. So talk about expanding your living space. This is a big door here that you can open right up and open up that outside to the inside. So I'm going to continue with the doors. I got one more door I want to show you over here. Now this door here is what we call a lift and slide. So the thing with this lift and slide door is we can do very big sashes. So you don't have to split it up as much. So this is 8 feet tall, and you've got a big, huge slide. You can see that I'm putting no pressure on moving that. It just glides across the track. And then that also comes with the screen that slides on the outside like so. So again, you can really open up that space with a door like this. So that's pretty much what we have to offer for stuff that we manufacture in-house. We do offer a full line of exterior doors, front doors, kitchen doors, that kind of thing as well. But I want to stick with the stuff that we manufacture ourselves. And I'm going to go to Windows next. I'm going to show you some of the features of our classic series, our 6800 series. So our 6800 series is a horizontal slider window, and it is a vertical slider window. Okay, so the nice thing with the horizontal window is you can take it all apart to clean. So I'm going to give you a little demo on that. Now we use brass rollers for the sliders, so they glide effortlessly across the track. So I'm going to just take this out. Now there's a security clip up top here, so if I tried to take it out here, I couldn't. I've got to slide it all the way over to the center post, and I can push up, and I can take it out to clean. Clean both sides, put it back in. I'm just going to take the other one out here. And something that gets people really excited is that they might be in there all the time with a little toothbrush or a Q-tip cleaning their tracks all the time because they're always full of mold. They just keep cleaning them, cleaning them, cleaning them. We hear this all the time. So what we came out with was a track that is actually removable. So by pulling back on the track, we can actually take that out. You can take it to the kitchen, the bathtub, whatever. Give it a nice wash. Just give it a quick little vacuum. And then you can put that track right back in the spot. Very easy to do. And it's right back in. So the windows are really easy. Everything that comes is going to come with the screen. And the screens are really nice to take out. So in the olden days with the aluminum windows, you used to have a little clip on the outside here. And those who are online probably remember after a while, you try to take them out, the clips go flying. They disintegrate in the sun. The next generation was a little tab that was on the screen that you had to yank on. We were doing service calls for years on those clips because people would abuse them and they would fall off. So about 5-6 years ago, we switched our system. So what we do is we have a spring here and a spring here. So I'm from the inside of the house. I want to take the screen off. I just depress the spring. I push it out. Do the same up top, push it out, and then I bring it back through. So this is what's doing all the work now. Nice clean system, no tabs to fall off. Put that back in place. And we'll put our sashes back in. And just like that, we're back to square one again. Next series is I'm going to show you our casement series. So if you want to follow me, we'll start with our 2900 series casement window. So with the 2900 series window, it's a beveled face on the outside. You can see it's got a bit of a bevel to the outside. Nice thing with this is it's available in a casement and an awning series. So I'm going to go inside and just show you how these operate. So all I do is unlock it, and then I crank it right out to a full 90 degrees. Now, nice thing with the handle is it doesn't just stick out, it'll actually fold right back up into the cradle. So if you have the blinds that come down, it's not going to interfere with the blinds. So that is the casement. Now, you have a screen that comes off from the inside, but I never need to touch that screen to operate the handle, okay? So we can pull that, put that aside for now. I'd now be able to wash both sides very easily, wash around like that. So it's very nice for cleaning. In the same series, we also have an awning. So the awning will go out to 45 degrees. So we sell these a lot. I would say in a bathroom would be a good application. Because you can keep it open all the time. If it ever starts raining, the water's going to hit that and almost drain it away. So with obscure glass, nobody's going to be able to really see in. So I would say we sell the majority of those in bathrooms. Got one other casement series that I want to show you. And that is right over here. So this is what we call our 2600 series. Okay, it's got more of a flat face on the outside, whereas the 2900 was more of a beveled face on the inside, on the outside. So all the same characteristics. It'll go out to the full 90 degrees, and it has the same awning available. So it really just comes down to the look that you're after that's going to suit your home the best. So those are our series of windows. Last couple things I want to show you is one of the things we're really proud of. It is a window design we call our Experience series. And I'm going to take you back to the back wall here and give you a little show on that. So our Experience series window, the benefits of it is it has a built-in pocket in the side. So those of you that might have vinyl siding, you have what's called a J trim around your window. It would look something like this here. This is a J trim. So our founder, John Tilstra, his vision was for a long time, because he started as a siding company, he wanted to be able to build a window that had a built-in J-strip pocket so that he could run the siding right into the side of the window, eliminating a need to put a wood trim around or a J trim. So it gives it a nice clean look. And you can see from the side here how the siding will just go right into the side. So this is hardy board siding. So it'll accept hardy board siding and rain screen. And then here is an example of a vinyl, running the vinyl siding into the side. So it gives you a nice clean look. And I actually have this on my home, believe it or not. So yeah, it worked out really, really well. In all our showrooms, you'll also see a full selection of obscure glass. And yeah, we have many things to show you in our showrooms. Unfortunately, right now, we're by appointment only in the showrooms. We hope that'll be back to normal. And who knows when it'll be, but we're proud of our facilities. We'd love to give you a tour around. For right now, just call into our main office and we can try to set up an appointment to meet one of the local reps at the showroom, or you can come out to your house and we can give you a demo there. All right, Renell, I'm throwing it back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Mark. As you make your way back to the office, we have quite a few questions for all of our panelists, so we'll make sure that all the panelists are up and ready for these questions. Thank you so much to everyone who has been engaging and joining the conversation. If you're taking a look in the current chat room, some of our panelists have been able to answer some of those questions for you, much the same in the Q&A as well. But once again, we're now going to be opening the floor. But before we get there, of course, one of the big items for today is the $500 Centra cash prize that we are giving away. Once again, thank you to everyone for participating. We would love to do this in person, of course, but given the current times, we thought we could bring the home show to you, and we're still giving away a prize. So without further ado, I'd like to announce the winner. The winner is Wilfred Bauer. Wilfred Bauer, you are the winner of the $500 Centra cash prize. I believe you are still here watching the webinar. We will be in touch with you. Once again, that is Wilfred Bauer. I do see you. You are currently watching, so you must be jumping for joy at this time. $500 in Centra cash. You can use that for a beautiful patio door or any one of our products. That sure will make a big, big difference as you're making your way towards your home renovation and investment. So once again, Wilfred, we will be in touch, and you will be able to claim your prize from us directly from our customer experience team. Okay, with that being said, we'll bring all of our panelists here back on the floor, and they will be able to answer some of your questions, and we'll just go one by one and do our best to answer everything. Once again, we want this to be as resourceful and educational as possible, so our Window Geeks here are happy to answer any of your questions. First one here, for really anyone, it is an interesting time, of course, with COVID-19. How has our install procedures changed? If anyone's able to answer that question in regards to COVID-19, we're really doing this because of this time. So for a homeowner who's maybe concerned about some of those issues, how are we going about doing that?
Do you want to answer, Jake?
Yep. Okay. So we've right away when all of this started happening, we actually took a 2-week break from installations and from sales. And the reason we did this is that we could meet every single day and make sure that we were implementing new processes that fell in line with all of the requirements from the government and from WCB to ensure that we are working safely moving forward. So some of the things that we do differently now is when we send a crew of guys to your house, only one person is allowed to be inside of your home at any time. So the other 2 would remain outside. And this way, it's much easier to make sure that the physical or the social distancing guidelines are being met. They also know every area they're coming into contact with, so it's very easy to clean up afterwards. We've only got 2 guys in a truck instead of 3, so they can keep their own distance between each other. And the guys that are working outside will always have pylons set up around them, marking off their workspace to ensure that the social distancing is going on, along with hand washing stations at every single site that we're in. So we are doing everything we can to be safe. We also have all the proper PPE gear required if it's needed, and hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jake. And we actually just posted a video in the chat room that details how our installation procedures are currently taking place during COVID-19. So some of the items that Jake just mentioned there, you can see those visually once again in terms of how our procedures have changed. Another question, maybe this one is for Mark here, as he just spoke about this in the showroom tour. Are those tracks in your patio doors, are they fairly easy to clean?
Yeah, very easy to clean. They're not removable like the windows, because the windows are typically a lot lighter. The window sashes come out quite easy. Patio door, you would have to twist down the wheels and then pull the door out. But if you just slid the door to one side, you can give it a quick vacuum, give it a little clean, and then a little bit of silicone spray to keep it riding really nice and easy.
Another question here from Jennifer Linney. Thank you so much for that question. From Jennifer, we have California stucco. Does that make it more difficult at all to install?
I can answer that one. No, not at all. We're used to dealing with California stucco, the old 60s stucco. We're just used to dealing with hardy plank siding, vinyl siding. We can deal with all of the different types of siding. So, absolutely. What we would need to do is come out to your place, have a peek at it, and then we can discuss the options with regards to installation on California stucco. But we've got a couple of methods that we can tackle, and we'd love to come out and help you with that.
A question that we have here as well, this homeowner has aluminum windows, which we do see quite often. And of course, they're probably expecting a very, very hot summer in the coming months. Should they be upgrading only their biggest windows that are allowing the most heat into their home, or should they be considering upgrading the rest of their windows at the same time? What's the best approach to take here? And that's for any of you.
We can do it either way. We're set up in that we could do one window at a time if that's what you prefer. But obviously, you're going to end up with the corner store versus the Costco pricing. So when we come out to do a full job or a full house of windows, the efficiencies that we pick up on by doing more than one at a time allow us to give you a better deal on your contract. So we can do one at a time, but it's going to be more cost effective for you if we can do it as a package. And although windows are expensive, we can offer a lot of great financing options, monthly payments, low monthly payments, deferrals, to make it more achievable for you.
Another question we have here is in regards to old windows. How do we dispose of them, and what takes place in regards to the future recycling of windows that may be done, whether it's our current product or homeowners' windows that we're upgrading?
Good question. Yeah, so we make it a priority to recycle everything that we possibly can. So the old windows are brought back to our factory or to the shops in regards to the branches. Glass is typically pulled out of the aluminum frames. Glass goes in one bin, gets recycled, and then the aluminum is pieced and then recycled as well.
All right, we have a question here from Narinder. How heavy are those windows to remove? We saw Mark actually being able to remove some of those windows during his showroom tour. They didn't seem too heavy, but Mark, if you want to comment on that as well. Of course, it depends on the type of window as well.
Yeah, so it's really going to depend on the size of the glass. We can do on a horizontally sliding window, we can do up to 4 feet width in a sash. So it really depends on the size of it. It'd be similar to comparing a patio slider. Patio slider is going to take a little bit of effort to pick up. So it really, the glass heaviness is all dependent on the size of the sash.
Yeah, and typically once we've finished installing your windows, our head installer is going to do a walkthrough with you, show you how to remove that glass. And, you know, obviously you can try and feel the weight of it and see if it's something that you can pick up, but that's all part of our process. Once the windows are all done and finished, we do a walkthrough and they'll show you how to remove those sashes and make it to finish it all up for you.
A question here from our actual winner here, Wilfred Bauer, who just won our $500 Centra cash prize. So he's definitely happy right now. His question that he asked is, how wide is the outside frame on a replacement window?
The outside frame on a replacement window. On our 6855 series nail-on style window, you're probably looking at around 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And then if we're using our rebate flange window, it's about 2.5 inches, somewhere in that range, approximately.
Mark, you mentioned that we are only servicing by appointment only. Can someone make an appointment to come see some of our patio doors in the Langley showroom? This is a question here from Edmund.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely you can. It is extremely busy right now, but we will do our best to accommodate you as quickly as we can. So again, we're proud of our branch showrooms and our facility here in Langley. So we love to show it off whenever we can. But under COVID, we have to take certain guidelines, and we only want a certain amount of people in the showroom at once. So please reach out to our head office and we'll try to set something up for you.
And once again, thank you to everyone for submitting their questions. We do have our panelists here for definitely another 30 minutes in case we do get some more questions. We do have a few more here that we're going to get through, but once again, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Fun question here from Caroline. Her cat jumps at the window screen. Can we make our screen stronger by any chance?
Well, yeah, that question comes up a lot. We do use a heavy duty material on our screens, but we can't guarantee that kitty cats or dogs are going to be able to damage it or not going to be able to damage it. Although I had someone come in last week and their son had walked through their patio door screen, and the screen was still intact. They actually bent the frame of the actual screen when he walked through it. So I was quite surprised on that. But yes, it is a heavy duty fiberglass screen material. It will take a pretty good beating, but we can never guarantee it with the cats and stuff.
Question here from Brad. Brad has aluminum framed windows. He understands the frame stays in place for the install. How is the glass removed, for example, for a BC box style home with a large 10 by 5 frame front window? How is that glass removed for him?
So what we do if we're leaving the frames in and installing a new window in a retrofit application is glass is actually held in by what's called an aluminum bead. So it's on the side of your window, and our guys are able to just take that off from the outside with a pry bar. Once it's removed, we go to the inside and we just use a putty knife to cut the foam or the tape all the way around. Then we've got our suction cups hooked up to the glass so that the guys can simply lift it out and lower it to the ground safely.
Yeah.
Jake, go ahead, Robin.
Oh, I was going to say that we don't necessarily always leave the aluminum frame in place. That is an option within some installation methods in some homes, but it's not necessarily the absolute way that we do it. We can do a full frame removal by not using the renovation flange in a renovation application, but this is not, we don't have to leave the old frame in place if we don't want to.
A question here maybe for Jake. We have a homeowner who's interested in inquiring about some of the locations that we serve, specifically even Vancouver Island. I know Jake's based out of Kelowna right now, but maybe we just want to explain to our homeowner here some of the service areas that we do serve.
For most cases, if you're within about an hour and a half of our branch, we'll come out to do a consultation and give you a quote. Now, sometimes we might stretch that a little bit further, but it will depend on the location that you're in.
And once again, Lynn, for those locations, we are located a branch location in Victoria, a brand new showroom there, located on 865 Van Isle Way. Of course, a showroom here in Kelowna that Jake's currently stationed at, Nanaimo, and as well as our headquarters here in Langley, BC. A question here, is there a better time of the year to do window renovations? Right now, it doesn't seem like it's financially possible, but the winter time does pose more of an interest. However, does the winter time pose a few more obstacles?
I can answer that. Yeah, so it's a common question that's asked, do we really want to have our windows installed in the wintertime? We have crews that work together quite regularly, so your windows are in the wintertime are only out for 5 to 7 minutes at a time, and a new window's back in place. So I'd say there's no better or worse time to do it. I would say right now, it is a good time to buy because the grants are available. The government's paying for a certain amount of your upgrade to get to a high performance glass. We don't know how long those grants are going to be around for. So I would say right now is a great time, but as far as seasonality, there's no better or best time to do it.
Great answer there, Mark. We have 3 more questions to go. One here from Linny. Linny has to keep her patio door closed in order to activate the footlock. Are Centra Windows footlocks easier to manage by any chance?
I can answer that. Yeah, no, it's a spring-loaded footlock. You don't need to bend over or anything like that to try and pop that second footlock down into place. So it's something you can just operate with your foot. It can lock down in the closed position, and then you can actually open it up and have a little bit of a gap so you can get some airflow, but still secure it down in the locked position. So that's standard on all of our doors.
A question here from Brad. A question that Mark might have touched on in our introduction here. If anyone can speak a little bit about the employee ownership program, they're not really sure exactly how it works. They do see a lot of it in our marketing material in regards to being 100% employee owned. If anyone can speak on that briefly.
Sure, I will. Yeah, so I've been with the company for just about 25 years now, and about my second year in is when I got the opportunity to buy into the company. There was actually a program that used to be run through the provincial government called the ESOP program, Employee Share Ownership Program. And so every year, we would total up, how the company did, and then the employees would get a dividend every quarter. That program has since disbanded. We still run it the same way. We're not publicly traded, but an external auditor comes in each year, puts a value on the company, and that is based on what our share value is and what our dividends will be. So I tell you, when you invest money into something, you pay attention. And I think that is one of our biggest advantages, is that we care about what we do because we have our money sitting here and we want it to do well. So I hope that answered the question.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, employee ownership definitely makes a big difference for all of us owners here. at Centra. We have a question here from Jen. I have a couple more questions coming in here. From Jen, do windows come with a security lock at all, whereby a window can be left open a bit but not entered by a thief?
Yeah, I can go over that for you, Jen. All of our windows do come standard, all of our sliding windows with the dual lock. So you've got a steel pin drop lock and you've got a ceramic night lock. But the steel pin drop lock acts just like a patio door would, and then you can open it an inch or two, like Robin was just talking about, and still have it locked. So you can have a breeze coming in overnight and you don't have to worry about security.
Excellent. Thank you, Jake. From Cindy here, we did not mention entry doors like main entry doors. Do we have options such as those, or maybe even entry doors that may match their garage door? How flexible are we in the creativity when it comes to main entry doors?
I can answer that. Yeah, absolutely. We've got a full line of entry doors, double doors, single doors, doors with side lights, transoms. I mean, it's never ending. We've got a nice big catalog that we can email to you, a PDF of those doors, and then obviously quote you out on that. And there's lots of different options in those doors. We can make them, they're all fiberglass doors now, and they're stainable so they can look like wood. Yeah, just the options are endless in doors, different colors, different stain options, and configurations. So it's endless.
Final question here from Christine, unless we get another one here in the midst of the next answer. Christine's question, she's getting renovation windows, the 6890. Are the exterior vinyl trims paintable? She has some dark siding and dark trim. Can she sand and paint just a trim part to match her other trims? Will a good quality exterior paint even stick? So she's really just inquiring about a lot of these custom options that we can provide for homeowners here.
Want to grab that one, Rob?
Sure. Yeah, we don't recommend that you're painting your frames on your own. If that's something that you're looking to do, typically we would want you to have us paint that professionally here at our factory. Because if you use the wrong paint, it can really make the frame possibly contort or have some issues with it. Because we use a very specific paint that is painted on here in our factory in a controlled area that will be sure that you're not going to have any issues with flaking, chipping, peeling, or warping of the frame. So if that's something that you're thinking of, it's something that we should address here at the factory before going out to your house. We wouldn't recommend painting it on site.
All right, thank you, Robin. And this is now actually the final question here from Christine. Being that it is COVID-19, she did hear that some of our installs were stopped for 2 to 3 weeks, and now they continued on. She might have not been here for the question when we answered this from Jake here. But just a final question here in regards to safety, if someone was able to answer that question for us one more time, in regards to the safety precautions that we're taking during this time of COVID-19.
Well, Jake did a great job, so Jake should probably run with that one.
Yeah, great question, Christine. We did shut down, you were right, for 2 weeks when all this started happening. But the reason we did that was to be proactive. We wanted to hit it head on and make sure implementing processes that would be sustainable moving forward, so we wouldn't have to stop it again. So we have done a number of things, and we've got a whole file we can send you that you can go over every single detail. But some of the main things here to list off would be like, we only allow 1 guy to work in your house instead of 3. So by doing that, it's much easier to maintain the distancing. He can clean everything that he comes into contact with. The guys on the outside will safely mark out their work areas so nobody's getting close to them. We've got a portable hand washing station at every single job site so the guys can make sure they're being clean. And we also only allow 2 guys to drive together in a truck instead of 3 so that they're keeping their distance even before they get to the house. Another minor detail would be like the drop sheets that we use at your house that we put down to protect your floors when we're installing. Instead of bringing them from one house to a next, we actually recycle them and clean them before we reuse them again on the next job. So we're looking at everything very detailed to make sure that we're being safe.
Another question that just came in, once again, thank you to everyone who is participating and joining the conversation. Of course, we want this to be as resourceful as possible. So thank you so much for asking so many questions. Our Window Geeks here are loving to answer and help you for your next potential upgrade. A question here from Caroline. Once we go ahead with the install, rather, how far away is that install date? So they're going to go ahead, they're going to purchase these windows. What's the time gap from that purchase to when the install actually takes place?
So Karen, I'm anxiously awaiting your contract coming across my desk. So I hope I'll be watching for Thompson. But depending on where you're located, 8 to 10 weeks is about the range right now to have the product manufactured and installed. So it just depends on what location you're in, whether you're here in the Lower Mainland, in the interior, or on Vancouver Island. But that's kind of a range. And if you haven't had a quote from us yet, please inquire at head office. We'd love to get a sales rep out. The guys can give you a little demo and look at your house, make suggestions. Like Robin said, there isn't just one way to do an install. There's many different ways. So we like to present to you the options we have and then ultimately design a package that works best for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark.
Go
ahead, Robin.
I just wanted to bring up something else with regards to Jake and the whole COVID thing. And as a company-wide thing, we require that everyone that works for Centra every morning puts in does a self-check to make sure that they are healthy. And so that's everybody. Doesn't matter if it's myself that's coming to your house to do a quote, or one of our installers, or even just someone that's working on the plant floor. We require that everyone does a self-check every morning to make sure that everybody's safe, and we're keeping our British Columbia away from what we've seen in the rest of Canada.
And just to add to that COVID-19 material here, we did post a video of how our installs are currently taking place. So to complement what Jake and Robin were saying, you can see some live visuals of that. And if you had a chance to check out CTV Morning Live this morning, we actually had one of our resident window geeks speak about COVID-19 and how our team is handling some of those installations on CTV. So if you follow us on any of our social pages, Facebook or Instagram, we'll be sharing that video with all of our followers as well. A question here from Cindy: is it better to come to the showroom first or have someone come to the house for a quote? How does that process work?
I would typically recommend that we come to the house first so that we can speak specifically to your home, because then we can really sort of guide you through what we've seen at your house and some of the options that we've discussed at your home. It's a lot easier for us to go see what you have and then bring it to the showroom and talk specifically to your home, rather than you coming to the showroom and I've never seen your house, and it's really hard for us to sort of know what you have and what to recommend.
Excellent. A question here from Trevor: once you have a quote, how long is it good for? And do we have any financing options available for Trevor?
I'll let Mark go with that one.
Sure. So how long is a quote good for? Typically, quotes are good for about 30 days. However, our pricing is live. It's linked directly to the factory. So it is very volatile at times. But typically, rule of thumb is about 30 days. And what was the other question, Renell?
That was part of financing. They wanted to know
about financing. Yes. So yes, we have some great programs. Right now is an excellent time. We're actually running a special right now, which is 9 months, no interest, no payments, which starts from once the job is done. The other benefit is there's no deposit. So let's just say you had a rep out next week or the week after. You literally would not have to put a dime out of your pocket till April or May 2021. So that promotion goes on to the end of June that we're offering that. I would say about 60% of what we're putting through right now is that deferral program. People feel comfortable that they don't have to put any money out right now. They can get their home upgraded, enjoy the benefits of the summertime, the wintertime, and not have to put a dime out. You can then pay it off at any time without a penalty, and you can put lump sums directly against the principal. So it's a very flexible program, and a lot of people take advantage of it.
All right, we have quite a few more questions coming in here, so our window geeks are sparking a lot more questions here. We have a question titled Anonymous Attendee, and that question is: are there any senior discounts available on top of rebates? So I have a feeling this anonymous attendee may be a senior. If anyone wants to answer that question for us.
Absolutely. We always have seniors discounts, and we want to treat our seniors right. So absolutely, we've got seniors discounts.
From Lenny here: I know there are patio doors with blinds built inside. Are these worth getting, and are they hard to maintain?
Want me to answer that one?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Yeah, so the 5200 patio door that I showed in the showroom, it doesn't have the blinds in that one, but we do offer that door with mini blinds in between the panes of glass. Comes with a great warranty, and after the warranty expires, the nice thing is you don't have to replace the door. That piece of glass would have to be replaced. We've had very good success with them, and it is a hot product because by the time you go to buy blinds, and then if you have pets, that you don't have to interfere with the pets or people coming in and out, it is a nice option to have.
And just to interject there, it is only available mini blinds in our 6-foot patio door.
Excellent. And just a follow up from Trevor. Trevor asked a question here in terms of how long is a quote good for? Trevor, shout out to you. Just followed us on Instagram. So shout out to Trevor who just instantly followed us on Instagram following the question here. A question from Jen to follow up on the financing options. Are there fees for this deferral program?
That's a good question, Jen. Right now is a great time for you if you're interested in this program, because we've got a promotion running where we're actually going to pay that fee for you. So there's no deferral fee for you. And like Mark was saying, we can postpone your deposit in any payments from 9 months after the job is completed. So we're about 3 months, 2.5, 3 months out right now. That means you have a full year that you don't have to pay a dime and you can start saving money right away.
The other nice thing, just to add to that, Jake, if you go ahead with the government, the BC Hydro rebate type glass, like Robin was talking about, the 366 ID9 or 270 ID9, you would actually get your rebate back and you haven't still paid a dime. So you could take that money and do whatever with it or throw it directly against the principal of the loan as well.
Jen is asking, is there a discount for full payment in cash?
Cash, unfortunately, is something we're trying to stay away of right now because of COVID. We can do an electronic type of e-transfer, but we prefer to take Visa, MasterCard would be the preferred way, or check or e-transfer. But cash, I don't want to say I won't accept a cash deal, because we will, but we prefer to stay away from it right now.
Thanks, Mark. And shout out to Shirley, who is joining us on this webinar here, and just follow us on Instagram as well. Thank you so much to everyone. That does it for our question period. Once again, thank you to Jake, Robin, and Mark, our Window Geeks. Fantastic presentations and very informative. Once again, all three of our Window Geeks and much more of our team will be available to answer any more of your questions. Just give us a call, visit our website. We'll have all that information just available for you right here. Really appreciate it, and stay safe, everyone.